'cause I hope you pick it up soon, and you know just what to do, don't you? Boy, just be honest. I know you want it. Put some work into it, 'cause you know that I'm hard to love. It won't be easy, so don't be lazy. Just give it to me, 'cause you know that I'm hard to love. I'm hard to love. Boy, you know that I'm hard to love. I'm hard to love. Boy, you know that I'm hard to love. I'm hard to love. Boy, you know that I'm hard to love. I'm hard to love. Boy, you know that I'm hard to love.
Semi-finals happening here. Elite invite from Leuven. The EUF series, the big ticket available tomorrow. One of these teams will have a crack at it, but they're going to have to get through one another. A rematch of one of the first games of the tournament on stream. Chevron Action Flash from the UK taking on the Mooncatchers from just up the road in Brussels. I'm Stefan Rapazzo alongside Benji Reese, here to call the action. Benji, what do you expect for this game in front of us today?
I mean, I don't know what I expect, but I'd take another Universe point, as it was first game of the weekend for these two sides. Although the Universe point itself was a bit anticlimactic, it was a real thriller right up until that point.
Well, here come Chevron. Callum Spears fields the very first pull, and it's Graham with the very first, and then the deep shot goes, the chase is on. Weir gets horizontal. What a pickup celebration. No chat about whether that was in and out. What a boost to get horizontal by Cameron Weir.
Chevron are at their best, I think, at the moment when their deep game is fit and firing, because they've got shooters, and boy, do they have receivers. Cam Weir and Cody Elliott-Edwards have been their main deep stretchers this tournament, and it looks to be the same again as Cam Weir absolutely explodes Sweetenham with no fear. Quite a lasered shot. Paul Artis gives up because he knows it's Weir or it's no one, and it's Cam Weir, and that disc might need a little bit of replacement, because I can see that it's not come out in the best state.
Good old-fashioned tacoing.
Is it Taco Tuesday, Steph?
It could be now. It's Taco Saturday, I suppose.
Great pull from Chevron. We'll start Mooncatchers at the back of their own end zone. Dare you think Callahan here?
It is that kind of country, Callahan country indeed. But they've gotten themselves out of the immediate trouble. DeLuca goes to Yonkers, and now Dan Demarais. Yonkers.
Is Yonkers not a bit warm in those trousers?
I mean, I would be, but Yonkers can do it the way he likes. He's the local. He's most adept to the weather. Oh, and off the hands of Demarais, cannot hang on to it, and a break chance early for Chevy. They've gone deep. DeLuca gets in the way just enough to knock it away from Nicholas.
Yeah, Wadri Williams just has a nose for the action, and he's been getting some brilliant poach blocks throughout the week, and that was not one of those. That was just Demarais flubbing the catch, and Wadri Williams being in the right place just to follow up.
Carclinch goes to Demarais.
And it's not surprised to see Wadri Williams continue to take that Demarais matchup.
Low catch for Mueller. And DeLuca sighted in the dump space. Mueller to Carclinch. Throws high for Yonkers over the head of DeLuca. He was wondering if he was the intended recipient there. Now inside break, just gets Ort, goes for corner, finds Mueller, and they do score after giving away a chance.
Against a side the quality of Mooncatchers, when you get opportunities, especially when they feel like freebies, as the Demarais drop did, you should probably be taking advantage, but that's so much easier said than it is actually put into practice, because they find ways of getting it back, and when they do, they find ways of scoring.
It's a Chevy team that, defending UK champs right now. They come into some of these big tournaments and are overlooked or underestimated from time to time. I think that was the case even in the last round, quarterfinal. A lot of people gave the advantage to Wall City, but Chevy, just a grinding team. If you are not at your best, they will take you. This is a team that can win any given match they take the field for.
It definitely feels like there's been a transition with Chevron in the last few years as well, and that they've got some of this younger talent taking on more prominent roles, and it's proven a boon to them. They've already started better than they did in the last game with the first match of the weekend against Mooncatchers, where they went down 3-0. Eventually they came to lead before just letting it slip on Universe, but already getting the first point on the board, and offense looking in good nick early on in this one is huge for them.
Criddle had to make a play there before going to Sweetenham and back. Criddle sizes up, takes Sweetenham. Sweetenham boosts it, the chase is on, it's Weir again, but that one too far, and now a chance for Moon to break.
We know that if there's a step, Chevy will go for it, and if there's a play, Weir will make it. And the fact that it didn't happen, I think, tells you that it was too far out of reach. It's the Italian import Liam Clisafulli to pick up on from the end zone line. We were having a little chat during their quarterfinal, which was a real barn burner against Jet Set, and he was a little bit disbelieved that Gentle were able to win comfortably over Lafossa, his former teammates.
I think DeLuca had that same disbelief. They were both worried about their compatriots and old teammates as Abeltinch takes a look, throws to the break side, sighting Bertrand. He takes it high. The youngster leads Hockey, and he flips it over the head. Nico Hockey with the break goal there. Bertrand with the big sky.
Mooncatchers get it back in typical swashbuckling style, and Bertrand losing the size match up there with Criddle, but he just went and attacked it earlier. Criddle was on his heels a little bit. I think he felt that he could come over the top. Maybe he thought there was going to be more fade on it towards the inside of the pitch, but Bertrand went up early, and Hockey was the only other player in the area, to be honest, and nothing they could do to stop the very piratical-looking Hockey racing past Colt Hammer into the end zone and getting a Moon on top for the first time this game. Maybe the scoring progression isn't going to be too dissimilar to that first game after all. I think this, obviously, you look at things on paper and you think, well, I know how this is going to play, and that's generally not how it actually plays out.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I would not be surprised if this one went all the way again. And if it's not Universe, I certainly don't expect it to be a one-sided matchup.
No, I do not either, Benz. This one should come down to it as Elliott sends to Sweetenham. Sweetenham throws high, gets Graham. Graham to Edwards. And Edwards into Sweetenham, short field, but throws high, but does throw wise. Weir is there, toe down at the back of the end zone, and Chevy hold after being broken.
Did you think that was overthrown, Steph?
I did for a second. I didn't see Weir there, and I thought it went astray, but Weir made me sound wrong about that one.
He's a good piece to have, isn't he? Old Cam Weir. He says we should look for throwing backwards. But I think he's left out the first part, which is catching it forwards.
Yeah.
And you don't have to throw it backwards, of course, when you score. But he's a typical Chevron player in a way, because he's almost a proto-athlete. They love these long, rangy players with those kind of rare traits that are somewhat a little bit less coachable, potentially, because once you've got that kind of that raw build that you can work with, they back themselves to be able to teach them how to fit into the system, how to make the most out of them, rather than kind of getting with the ultimate players first and then building them into athletes. They know the players can take care of the athleticism themselves, and it's about how can we turn these athletes into the perfect fit for us.
Blasman to settle under. No, he won't. He'll let it go out, and Yonkers will take that one to the brick mark. Mooncatchers split their upfield attack. And now the near side seems to fade into the isolated pair, Ort and Demarais. Ort gets the eventual under. Bontemps cuts across. Blasman gets the return throw in the dump space, and now DeLuca on the far side.
There's something weird about seeing Blasman and Ort connect, A, in the open division, and B, not in a Hlut jersey. But it's never a displeasurable thing.
Ort gets it, saw for a second. Karklin's on the far side, but didn't take it. Winds up, delivers the lefty, now all alone. And Demarais finds Bontemps wide open after the crafty break by Ort.
The Belgian fans on the sidelines liked that one, and you can understand why, because utilising the offhand backhand that so many players have in their arsenal at the moment, and Ben Ort is absolutely no exception to them. We know what a talent he is with the disc in his hands. That time wanted to get some breakside movement going. You can see him sizing up this space. Bontemps clears out, fakes, and then whoop, just pop that one into space as Demarais slashes across the field, and then the little just stop and Bontemps to that breakside space. No marker in sight, and that's just stealing for a player like Bontemps. 3-2. These two sides we mentioned, they played first game at the Pool. Pool went better for Mooncatchers than it did for Chevron Action Flash, because they followed that up with a universe point thriller against La Fosse. Do those two ever have anything else? I'm not convinced at this point, but that time Moon, despite a game by their own admission, their offense was particularly repugnant, maybe. They still won 12-11 and then 15-9 over Alba before they beat Jet Set 13-11 in the quarterfinal. Chevy beat Alba 15-9. They went down tight to La Fosse this morning. We streamed that 14-12 and then bounced back big with that victory over Wall City, 15-13 final.
Spears goes to center. Wading it into the hands is Criddle. Weir, and the bid coming on the hip, but not quick enough. Betrancourt trying to play catch-up. Weir on the front foot, and in now to Edwards, right on the line. Edwards leading throw, Sweetenham there for the goal.
Yeah, Elliot Edwards is a huge engine for them downfield. He's a new addition to the Chevron Action Flash roster, was kind of brought up in an ultimate sense on the south coast down in Brighton, and if you know things about the way they play ultimate down there, it's probably quite different to the way they play ultimate in Birmingham, in that it's a lot more freeform, I think we'll say. There's maybe a different set of systems, a different set of principles, but if the player's good enough, you can put them in an entirely different environment and they'll still thrive, and that's what Cody Elliott Edwards does. Was so impressive for GB under-24 in the Open Division last year, despite having a little bit of more time left in his legs in that age bracket. And he and Weir are a particularly potent combination when they can just churn up that yardage in the deep space. Sweetenham, often we see him throwing, but when the opportunity's there, he'll happily go in to score as well. So another one of these young talents that have come through kind of the few still at this stage kind of schools programs. They're not as well distributed across the UK as I'm sure UK Ultimate would like, but there tend to be a few powerhouses, and generally Chevron have been the best elite club side at developing those players, bringing them through and sending them out here on the senior stage. And that's a huge credit to what they do.
Ben Yonkers starts from his own end zone. DeLuca gets big meters, citing Karklins, who does collect. Karklins sends deep. Demarais behind the defense. That's going to work. Karklins puts the 6 shooters back in the holster, blowing off the steam from the barrel. Happy with his efforts there.
Yeah, he's playing up for the cameras a little bit. Why not? Because that seemed oh so easy for Mooncatchers. I don't know what the Chevron defensive plan was there. And looking at that, I'm not sure that they did either, because Karklins to Demarais, that's like option 1 in the playbook. If we're going to do anything that we want to stop, that's the thing we're stopping. But I guess it's one thing trying to say, let's stop it, and game planning around it. It's another thing to actually then put it out into action on the field, and Karklins is wide open. Haynes belatedly flashes in, but he can just step into this one, not really hammer it deep, but just sit it there for Desmarais. And when defenders are a few steps behind, that is not a particularly good position to be in, Steph. That's my hot take.
Yeah, so not so hot. It's a fair take. I think you'd get a lot of backing support on that take, Benji. Nobody wants to be in that position. So 4-3, the scoreline. Moon up with a single break. Kime to collect, waits on the first throw, and then eventually distributes that one to Graham. Graham back to Kime. Kime winds up and then puts it in front to Weir. Weir puts it deep. Criddle on the chase. He is well behind the defense, and he does collect it with the left hand. Van den Broek saw he was beat and took the foot off the gas. A little bit frustrated with the rest of the defense.
I was thinking, he's given him a couple of steps deep. He does know Chevron will put it, right? Evidently he did not, because maybe expecting some more communication from his teammates from the sidelines that you're hot here, you need to be tighter, because if you don't, Chevy will open it up, they'll uncork it, and yes, Weir is, we've talked about his threat in the deep space, but he's a pick-your-poison type player, because if you force him under, boy, can he fire him when the opportunity's there. Criddle had separation, Weir pulls the trigger, and Weir's been involved in every single one of Chevy's scores so far. That is first assist, but he scored the other 3 goals.
Having a day today, Mr. Weir.
Little Ric Flair coming out there from Sweetenham.
Woo! If we're getting the Ric Flair, we gotta sound like Ric Flair. But Benj, both semis feature Belgium versus UK teams. Could be an all Belgian affair, could be an all UK affair, or could be one more clash of a Belgian team taking on a UK team. Those two nations well represented here in the Open Division at Elite Invite.
Yeah, the other semi-final taking place behind us on the one-camera Ulti-TV field. Lorcan Murray's on the remote call for that one. That is Clapham against Gentle.
Gentle, of course, knocking off. What a play. Second effort. DeLuca stays in and recovers after a beautiful block by Sebastian Allen. And then another one that legitimately takes it away. Tennant gets in the way, and the excitement mounts here, Benji, with defense getting some touch.
Chevy with a chance to break back and get us on serve.
Hannum, inside throw. Allen looking to the end zone, now back to center. Now into the corner, has a mark, no call at all. That one counts. Ben Tennant gets the bookends.
Ben Tennant did so well to get the block, but having done so, I don't think he'll find an easier score to get the bookends at the other end. He was wide open. Blown coverage, mismatch, I'm not sure. Tennant doesn't mind. You take the opportunities when they're there. Certainly you do. There's a huge block from Allen. He tries to get a big piece of it. Was it there to catch? Maybe. DeLuca doesn't care because he does the right thing. He follows, he backs it up, he commits. But Chevron have got their tails up now. And they are so dangerous when that's the case, because Tennant, with a big pour in it as well, palms it out of the sideline before the bespectacled Blastman can bring it in. And they're just trying to sit in that space. Tennant slashes all the way from the back of the stack. No one in front of him's kind of on that angle where they can see him coming and on-rushing through. You'll have a look at him come into the picture late. By the time they see him, he's already in front of them, and he's ceded that position. And Chevron have brought us back on serve. If you're not aware that Chevy are here to play, Chevy are here to play.
Chevy are indeed here to play. Blastman goes to Yonkers.
Yeah, Tennant block and then Allen to take.
Ort has a chance to wind up, doesn't take it. And goes deep, hangs one up. Desmarais there, does rise above a pack. And a tying score there, ties things up 5 apiece.
The kid's a little bit of a cheat code, isn't he, Dan Dimaray? When he needs to, you can just put some air underneath it and trust that he'll go Super Saiyan and bring it down in front of everybody. That's what he's done time and time again. That's why he's arguably the best player in the game right now. Certainly, he put a huge stamp on that. Reigning European Player of the Year in the Open Division, and sometimes he's putting it, sometimes he's receiving it. Whatever he does, he's dangerous. And Bontemps, who himself had a brilliant 2023 that all kicked off actually at the end of 2022 with that bumper performance at the European Indoor Championships, where he and the Belgian Open side were victorious. Yeah, there's just talent all the way up and down this roster. And I thought for a minute there that Ben Ortt was drinking from a shoe, but it's actually just a Tokai bag with a Nalgene in behind.
An interesting iteration of a bottle in a bag, but we'll take it.
I mean, I know that sometimes people do the shoey, but I think it's a bit more of a celebration rather than when you've just tied it up at 5 apiece. So, yeah, it makes a lot more sense now.
So this pull lands and rolls, picked up by Chevron, now in the hands of Criddle. Criddle goes to Sweetnam. Vandenbroek on the chase in hot pursuit. Criddle, change of direction, he still wants it under. Colt Hammer comes, but looked off.
Wow.
Yes, Spears does grab it away from the body, and a very strong hand to maintain possession.
I know it's spelled differently, but I think that's a good example of nominative determinism there, because he really did spear it.
Incredible stuff from Benji, as always. Colt Hammer goes up the line.
Hey, I can't say these sort of things if they don't give me the action to call. I'm being well enabled.
Yes, thank you for enabling Benji to keep the goods a coming. Colt Hammer, flippers one, finds Sweetnam. Sweetnam goes to the break side, too low, and there's a turn. Moon chance. No. We've got a foul call being discussed. Sweetnam and Vandenbroek. We'll get to the bottom of this one.
Yeah, Gaëtan Vandenbroek's a real firecracker. He's always somehow amongst the action, whether that be on offense or defense. I feel like he's released that disc by the time the hand slaps.
I thought about the same, and I think it is going to stand. The turnover will stand.
Yeah, good discussion. Have the talk. Okay, fair enough. Retract the call. Turnover stands. Both of these sides, they play fiery, they play intense, but the first matchup between the two seemed to be played in good spirits, and it looks like this one is as well.
Bakemans gets it near the front sideline to Ochinsky. Now Paul Arders, the American, who is well entrenched into this roster and this whole season here in Europe. Bakemans winds up, does not give, then gets the underneath. Betrancourt goes to Chris Safuli and now Abeltinch. Abeltinch inside, Betrancourt. Paul Arders. Vandenbroek, and there's a pick there for sure. Yeah, Bakemans goes and gets it, but that'll come back to the thrower.
Betrancourt's ascendancy has been amazing, by the way. In a couple of years, he's become such a key cog of Mooncatchers and of Belgium in general.
Yeah, one of the not many player differentiation we found out. Belgium national team, 2 or 3, I think, and he is one of them who gets the call up to join the European champs. Bakemans gets big horizontal, picks that one up from Arders, and that man can fly, putting one more break on the board for Moon.
Bakemans with the shake and bake, but it needed something a little bit extra, just the final touch of spice to really bring that dish together, and Bakemans more than had the answers. Let's have a look at it on the replay. Boy, am I looking forward to this replay.
Let Bakemans cook.
100%. Artists. Tell you what, go and make yourself a highlight, kid. That's exactly what Bakemans does. Brilliant stuff. Interesting, I want to talk about Paul Artis coming over, Chicago Paulie they called him, at the World Ultimate Club Championships a couple of years ago when Mooncatchers had that brilliant quarterfinal victory over Sockeye, and they made their way back into the into the top 4 for the first time. We've talked a lot about European players going over to North America. It's great to see a little more of that coming back the other way in recent seasons. Paul Arters, I think, is flying the flag, showing, believe me, it's worth coming in and playing in games and atmospheres like these.
Yeah,
it's like, have we got a timeout, or is they just a little mini huddle?
They are all back on the line. I don't know if they've already been through the timeout and ready, but we're going to stay in here and keep going. But you're right, we've seen plenty of North American players come over. I had Joe White as part of the
had Joe White
over.
and Tim Schock as well, yep.
But yeah, and Tim, they played the French season. They were very much part of that, but not for the whole European season. And that's what Arters is doing here, coming over on multiple trips. I think he's going to have 3 separate voyages, one that will give him 2 tournaments. That's last week and this week. Tom's an elite. He'll be back for Windmill, and he'll be back for elite for the big dance for EUCF. And that is a big testament to the quality of Ultimate that is happening over here in Europe, and the worthiness, as you say, Benji,
I think
of
it
being
shows
part of it.
It shows what Mooncatchers have built, that they're a team that people want to play for, and once you get your foot in the door and you're on that team, they're a really infectious personalities. They're such a fun bunch, and they play such fun Ultimate as well that you can understand the layout. Oh, why did he go trailing edge? But it stayed up.
It did stay up. Travel called against Kime. Was a very low release and a very impressive pickup by Sweetenham, but they'll have to do that much again.
I thought, oh, you can get this if you go for the right hand, and then he went with the left, and I was for sure that it was going to escape him. That's a real daisy cutter, but it looks clean enough that it was up to me. Unfortunately for Sweetenham, it's chalked off, but you've got to make sure.
Kime again to Spears. Goes around to get Weir. Weir gives a fake, looks back to center, backhand to Spears. Spears quick to Criddle. Criddle dices one in. Elliot Edwards goes back to Criddle. Criddle around to Graham. Graham shoots high. Elliot Edwards takes it and shot for goal. That one counts for Chevron. They put another one in and tie things up at 6.
These 2 heavyweights are going blow for blow, Steph. You would want nothing more. Chevron's athleticism coming to the fore in that point. They go up big, they go up strong. There's Elliot Edwards with that frankly filthy mullet. I don't necessarily mean that in a derogatory way, but it's he wears it with pride, doesn't he?
Yeah, I
this
love
one
that
high,
filth.
but it's easy athleticism, and there's not really a huge amount of space, but it's a little bit free in a phone booth. When you've got that first step and you've got that long reach, you can have that ability to really stick those catches in narrow windows, as Cam Weir did there. 6 apiece, 2 breaks for Moon, 1 for Chevron, but just thinking back to the first game of the weekend, Chevron were 8-5 down at half, and then went on a big run, 7-3 at one point, and then took a 12-11 lead. Chevron might be thinking, we know that we've got gas even all the way to the closing stage of the game, so the fact that we're locked at loggerhead this far in is quite a good sign for us.
Oh, isn't it, Benj? Speaking of Benj, Benjamin Yonkers gets a nice around leading throw to Muller. Muller to Bontemps. Sofiane Bontemps gets Yonkers cutting up the line. Yonkers straight back to middle. Karklins high, but well taken by Ort and quickly zipped to DeLuca in the corner. Bontemps goes down and has a goal in hands while he does it.
Anything Chev can do, Moon can do better maybe. They'll move the disc quickly. They'll find those tight spaces on the sidelines. They've got supreme throwers, supreme receivers, and that's why they've become a powerhouse of European Ultimate. Of course, they are the reigning champion at this event. Who can forget that final last year against Clapham when they gave them a real humbling, let's not put it any other way, 15-3 final score it was. And Bontemps laying out and just tosses it away as if it was nothing, because for him that was nothing.
Yeah. Walk in like you've been there a million times, just get straight back to business. I got my goal, what's my next job? I love that,
that air of confidence and ease.
Exactly. No need to be tooting horns and firing off 6 shooters. Just get straight back to work. Get in, get the job done, get out, get ready for more.
There's a professionalism about it, I think. We're here to do a job, and we're not satisfied until the job is done.
Job not done.
Certainly not. Seb Allen's a real veteran of this Chevy roster now. He's still only 27, but it feels like he probably has been there over a decade at this point. God, they age fast. I say as if they age at different rates.
Than you.
Yeah, exactly.
Deep shot goes to Criddle. He gets sandwiched, but still gets up as the meat in that Mooncatcher sandwich takes down a goal. Big grab for Criddle.
There wasn't so much separation on that one. We've seen Criddle go deep before and not be tracked properly. Betrancourt was there. Desmarais coming in from the backside as well. And Criddle goes up against those 2 behemoths and still comes down with it. Sweetnam is probably shooter in chief so far. He's been given the role of opening up the arm, and that's a brilliant take from Sam Criddle for the clean Moon hold. And before you know it, it's only half an hour. We're at Galaxy Point. This game has been so clean. No, we've not had a point yet where either side has turned it over on multiple occasions, Steph.
This is what we should be expecting in a semifinal at the Elite Invite. This is what we're getting at the semifinal in the Elite Invite. A cracking affair. As you said, we've seen these 2 go toe-to-toe early. We've seen them persevere and get here through thick and thin. Some great performances and some underwhelming ones, but they still found ways to win in both instances and are now dueling it out for a chance. You know, a chance to feature in the final, for a chance to get that golden ticket, the wild card, the one on offer to go to the EUCF.
You think now that obviously they'll have been frustrated that they couldn't come out and take that universe point in the first matchup, Chevron, but they have that belief that we can go toe-to-toe, and we were only, maybe, was it nerves, was it just an execution error in that universe point? They back themselves to the hilt. It's great. I think a resurgent Chevron can certainly be a European player. They've won Euros before. I believe they can do it again if they play like this. Why the heck not?
No, there is no reason why not. They had played bridesmaid for so long in the UK and have taken back the crown after so long over there.
Well, you say taken back the crown. They didn't really take it back as much as they actually just stole it for the first time. Finally, yes. Chevron with the blushing bride. That monkey well and truly off their back. And I think it has given them that extra self-assuredness that maybe the players had individually but wasn't quite there across the whole team as a unit.
Benjamin Yonkers goes to Karklint. Fakes the backhand, then delivers inside. Mueller goes to Blasman. Blasman fakes the scoop. Goes to Ort, but that gets gobbled up. Elliot Edwards, and then gives it straight back. Blasman to DeLuca. Mueller leads to the corner. Blasman can't milk it all the way in, but he does force feed it into Ort, and that one counts for a goal. What a sequence there.
Elliot Edwards giveth and Elliot Edwards taketh away, unfortunately. Did so well to get the block, but then going with the offhand, showed too much of the underside, popped it up. Robbie Haynes looks around frustrated, and then Moon take the opportunity. Let's pick it up, let's get on the gas while you're still reeling a little bit. And Moon, they take the half, and to make things better, they'll be receiving to begin the second as well. So they've got the old buy one, get one free, the 2 for none. The disc flutters and floats. Blasman gobbles up, and quick after the turn, 1-2. Let's keep the disc moving because we don't need to stagnate, and we can just sit it for Blasman to Ort, connecting as they've done so many times over the years. And it's an 8-7 half-time lead, Steph. What a half.
Great first half, cracking pace, wild action all over the pitch. Make sure you don't miss any more of that. We'll be back with more second half action here in Leuven from Elite Invite after these halftime messages. Get there. Yes, he will.
The lovely day.
Back in action, the beautiful scenes from Leuven taken from the drone above as we work our way into the second half here. A 1-point lead, but as Benji alluded to, the chance to materialize their advantage as they receive to start the second half. Mooncatchers in front and looking sharp, but as we've also said, Benji, this Chevron team never to be discounted.
No, it might not come their way in the end, but they'll certainly leave it all out there. That I have no doubt.
So Mooncatchers to receive the pull. Out and floating. DeLuca kicks off the sequence to Yonkers. Yonkers throws too high for Demaray, too high for Carklands. Demaray cleans it up, and then leading throw to Carklands.
I thought you said it was too high for Demaray.
To Mueller, and the finishing touches are in. Demaray, well, it was too high for him the first time, Bench.
But that's what good players do. They find ways to get it done. And off the tip, you have to be alert. You have to be alive, because until that disc is firmly in your hand, there's always the chance. A wise philosopher once said, if the disc hits the ground, it's a turnover. But the point is, it sounds weird, but the point is solid, that until it actually gets that blade of grass, there's still a chance. And if there's still a chance, generally, Mooncatchers will find a way to take it.
Yeah, as they did there, you see it going too high over 1, over 2. Demaray in to save the day.
But the second it's tipped, Demaray's looking around. Where is it? Can I, A, be the next option if one of my teammates catches it, or B, can I catch it myself? And then afterwards, they had the 3-on-2 downfield. In a situation like that, if Moon didn't score, they'd have been mighty disappointed, and they were able to get the job done.
And that pull will go out the back. Graham will bring it to the spot.
The other semi-final, by the way, going on the single cam feed behind us with Lorcan and Murray on comms. I think Gentle have just scored to make it 7-5 in Clapham's favour. So we could be on for a rematch of last year's final if those results hold. Although I don't think Clapham would be overly enamoured with that, given how last year's final went.
Yeah, maybe they'll need to do something to change the outcome, though. A lot of things similar as far as how this team will arrive, if indeed they do. Kime goes to the far side, has Graham, and back to Kime. Sweetenham. A flat front out of the Mooncatchers. Graham looks upfield again. Sweetenham gives meters. Sweetenham goes back to Spears. And leads. Crisafulli had a thought about it, but it had just enough lead on it.
I think he had multiple thoughts about it.
Spears to Graham.
That was a really good throw, especially because the force there from Vandenbroek was very tight.
Spears leads and trots those toes in. Graham there to collect the goal.
Vandenbroek nearly kicked the cone in frustration, but his temperament got the better of him, and he kindly puts it back on its spot. Very good. Especially after well, it wasn't a break, of course, but it was the 2-for-1, the 2-for-none, I should say, for Mooncatchers. And the last thing you want is to have a team the quality of Mooncatchers just escape into the distance. So Chevron getting a good, calm hold. Were there a couple of dicey moments? Arguably, but really, in the end, they were, for players of that quality, they're plays that you would more than expect them to make. And it does give you just that extra confidence. Okay, we're on the board for this second half. Let's get into the work. Let's see if we can earn those breaks that we need to claim the win. Fun game though, Steph. I mean, we've literally just hit the halfway mark time-wise. If this doesn't go game to 15, I was going to say I'll eat my hat. I won't, because obviously I won't, but I'd be very surprised.
Come on, I want a better excuse than obviously I won't, Benji, but all right.
Have you tried eating a hat?
Well, no, but I haven't made the claim.
It's a little bit like eating crow.
Right.
The rolling pool, if it takes the edge and it just sits down, then you can pin them very deep in territory. If not, well, it's a slow walk to the front of the end zone, and it's still not the best field position. Plus, you've got a chance to get your defense set. Often when teams do this, it's because they want the slower setup, because they're not going one-on-one. They're going with a zone, and that's what we see here from Chevron.
So Chevy putting the full zone on a full field press here. Yonkers and DeLuca exchange receptions. DeLuca again and Yonkers. Carclint comes into the mix. He goes for a gainer, gets Ort, who wound up. Ort still no mark on him, so no rush. He leads and overshoots Yonkers. Chance to break for Chevron action flash.
The throw just zipped away, but Toby Nicholas had to be alert, because if he wasn't, that could well have gone to hand anyway. We talked about you have to catch your Ds, because Moon, if you don't, they'll find a way.
Chevron. Haynes. Chips into the middle. Rodri Williams. Nicholas. And quickly moved. Rodri Williams gets another touch. Led to Haynes. And Chevron action flash break to level the scores at 8.
Robbie Haynes, this is old hat for him. He's scored crucial and vital goals before, whether that be on the club side, whether that be at the national level. He caught the winning goal in that 2019 EUC final in Gera, remember, that Universe Point classic against Germany. So it doesn't matter if it's a pressure moment. He's just got the endless confidence. Let's have another look at it now on the replay from the low angle, finding those little spaces, utilising the inside windows when they're available, dissing it short. And Rodri Williams hasn't necessarily had the most impact defensively, but he's been really good after the turn, making the right decisions, and whether that's taking the simple ones that are there or knowing the time to be a little bit more wide-ranging in your choice of shots. He's done well with it, and he's pulled Chevron level. They still need to find another break in this game, but it is 2 breaks apiece for the two sides out there right now. Chevron, though, do have to get that extra break because Mooncatchers started the game on offense. You'd hope that that's not the deciding factor in this game, but these two sides seem pretty evenly matched, so it might well be.
It still gets quite exciting when time gets close to expiring, and that is all that's between them. I will take it if that's what it comes down to. Low throw by DeLuca, and some question of whether Blasman picked it up off the ground or quick out of the air. And accepted that it was a completion.
Within their rights to ask the question, but they came to a decision pretty quickly and promptly.
Yonkers. Mueller goes high and takes. Swiping backhand back to Yonkers. Yonkers breaks the mark and finds Ort, who has some contact.
Yeah, William Jackson there getting a little over-eager. That throw was really rifled into Ort's gut. But he held firm and got a bit of contact on the way through afterwards, and that's just going to allow them a chance to reset.
Ort isolates Yonkers and delivers into the dump space. Yonkers fakes the big one, then gets Mueller on the under. Bontemps comes in, but decides for the reset to Blasman. DeLuca crosses, but defense switches. DeLuca again, now centered. Chevron defense tightening up. Desmarais finds some space. Now right in front of the goal, Mueller there. Mueller, Desmarais trying to dance, but makes space for it to get all the way through to Yonkers. Yonkers gives the fake, then zips. Bontemps is there, and Moon score in a crafty fashion.
Ben Hall just maybe overcommitting to stopping the around option there. And the result is that the inside flick can be fired onto Bonton. Firstly, those players are definitely not 3 meters back. Come on, stop finishing us, lads. But Ben Hall, who actually doesn't necessarily overcommit to stopping the around, but he just comes in a little bit late. And the disc comes out of Yonkers' hands quickly enough after he catches that the angle's available. We can get a good shot at it actually from the drone, that he really zings that one in past a man in Ben Hall who probably actually has even more ink than you do, Steph.
Yeah, he's a well-inked man. Also got some impressive calves going on to show off.
Do they rival yours?
Well, I mean, do any really, but they come as close as many on this pitch might, on this whole set of pitches might.
You know the phrase, when in Rome, do as the Romans do?
Yes.
Well, we're in Belgium, so we should do as the Belgians do.
What do the Belgians do, Benj?
Cheers.
Sure, why not? Let's have a refreshing libation.
Hey, in this weather, it's important to stay hydrated. As you can probably tell, it's been a hot one out there.
Ooh, what a mid! But Abeltich can't get it. Elliot Edwards does. Spins around with those mullet hairs a-dangling, now up into the hands of Weir.
I love how quickly Abeltich picks himself up. Doesn't matter that he was full throttle. Didn't get it. Right, bang, let's go.
Cradle on the doorstep. Inside break, right into the defense. Bertrand Court shuts the door.
Bertrand Court gets blocked, baby. It's what he does. It's what he was born to do. Criddle, I think, really made it obvious that what he was looking for. Maybe because Yonkers got it on the last possession for Moon, and Bertrand Court read him like a book.
Bertrand Court now, disc in hand. Bakemans comes under.
I actually think Bertrand Court baited it a little bit as well.
Okay. Goes inside to Victor Oczynski. Abeltich clears traffic with the offhand, then goes into the backfield to Feller. Oczynski to Hoke. Hoke finds Demesmaker, then right back. Ooh, and Abeltich does have to readjust his line, but finds his way to the disc. Hoke takes it high with the left. Distribute with the right. Bertrand Court gives for the end zone. Hits Oczynski in the neck, but not quite in yet. Yes, it is. Oczynski counts the goal from Hoke. From Bertrand Court.
It feels a little weird seeing Oczynski play a lot of defense rather than being out there on the O-line, where he's often one of the more consistent cogs. But Mooncatchers maybe playing with it a little bit more this season, and defensively he can be one of those players who's such a safe pair of hands after you obtain the block. He's played around Europe. He's represented his compatriots Frisbees at the 28 World Ultimate Club Championships. He played with Discolaris in Bilbao in the Basque region of Spain. He even played with Ring of Fire at TEP a few years ago. So he's got a wealth of ultimate experience, and that really does come in handy. But Bertrand Court doesn't, and it turns out he's still pretty good as well. Read the inside all over that one. The shot maybe sold Oczynski a little bit short, but it doesn't matter when the two Mooncatchers vets can then link up afterwards, and Oczynski finds Demesmaker for the score.
Yeah, all that about Oczynski, Benji, and just a heck of a guy. I had the opportunity to be in Brussels the other day, and as per usual, look for some tasty bites to eat, and it was Mr. Oczynski, Bakemans, and Pierre Delamine who got to take me out.
Some of the old guard.
Yeah, it was such a great meal. They took me to a traditional Belgian bistro, had a great feed, but more so the chat. Those guys are just here for the good times. They just genuinely love their club. They love Ultimate. They love everything that's happening this season and around what they've built over the years in Brussels with the Mooncatchers.
They're nice links between the Mooncatchers of a few years ago and the young upstart Mooncatchers of now. They still got that little bit of flair and swagger, but there's a real edge to them that perhaps wasn't there in the past. Demesmaker, listed sporting hero, was another Mooncatcher of old, Benoit Spappens. And he says simply, legend. Which, you know what, I can't necessarily disagree. Demesmaker's been playing for 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah, that means he started when he was 9. That's why they've been so successful, because it feels like these kids in Belgium are born with discs in hand right now.
Unbelievable stuff.
I say these kids as if Demesmaker's not older than me,
yes,
but the point stands.
He was a kid when...
You start him young. Yes, he was a kid when he started.
when you're talking about his age of youth there that was just referenced.
I'm glad you get me, Steph.
Every now and again, Ben. Sometimes you talk above me, but I love that too. Above my level. Spears. Goes under, has Weir. Weir looks upfield, then back to the inside. Contact from Betrancourt. Foul accepted.
I was going to say, unless I'm at the top of the stairs and you're slightly further down, I don't think I'm ever talking above you. I'm not talking above most people, to be honest.
Potentially in volume.
I'll give you that one, yeah.
Criddle cuts up the line. Tight mark by Takan. High stall count goes hammer, and it's going to work. Edwards now to Weir and Rodri Williams.
Switched over to the O-line.
He has. Williams spots Sweetenham. Sweetenham now with a high stall count. Goes lefty to Williams. Williams turns the field. Backhand side once again. Delivers to Weir. Rodri Williams and Ochinsky wrestling through their matchup out there. Spears leads, foot down, and the mullet scores again. Elliot Edwards on the board. Big goal for Chevron.
He is a real handful, is Cody Elliott Edwards. And this is a Chevron side that they're just fun to watch, man. Whether they open it up, whether they and look for the big play, whether they just grind you into dust underneath. They're happy to take a little bit of physicality. You know, they'll give it back, but they're more than happy to take it as well. It's the way they like to play the game. They like to get intense and kind of into that mental and physical battle. But that was a point of maturity, despite the youth at the end of it. Just having that ability to work those resets when they don't see what they like downfield. You have to have just a little bit more ultimate savvy. Yes, it's not as fun as jacking it and having someone bring it down, but it's often more effective. Something to note, by the way, for Chevron, I did notice this, and I was just double-checking that you might see him in the green shirt there walking off. Tom Hodgett's not available for this game, so I wonder if he picked up something earlier in the day, because I'm pretty sure we saw him against Lofoten this morning.
Shame for Chevron and for Hodgett, hoping that he'll be back on the field as soon as is humanly possible. In the meantime, his team will try and pull that weight for him. Yonkers spots Karklins.
That's going to go.
A little high. Rodri Williams against Dan Demarais is the battle. Williams takes position, and Demarais puts his shoulders up, palms up, and says, I think you bumped into me. Let's see how this discussion goes.
You could tell what the plan was. They set up the isolation, and it was always going. They're shoulder to shoulder, a little bit of a push in there. Is it contact enough for a foul? It's tricky to tell without feeling it, but I totally see why Demarais has called it.
Yeah, they're reenacting out there right now. Demarais giving the claim that that left shoulder bounced him away. My opinion on it is that here, this could be a very good angle before. Yeah, I mean, Demarais was leading into Rodri Williams there. He was running the line into him. By the time he got there, Rodri Williams put the left arm up and bounced him off. It is, I mean, contact came from both sides. The foul contest, I think, is the fairest way to go, and that's what they've done out there. That is a very tough one. I'd say a bit more initiated by Rodri Williams, but a very close call on that battle.
Call the foul, have the discussion. If you don't agree, okay, fine, never mind. We'll send it back, we'll play on. By the way, the semi-final behind us, Clapham are up 10-7 on Gentle. There was a lot of talk about how they're understaffed this weekend. Seem to be doing all right for themselves, the Bullfrogs.
Haven't dropped a game. Glassman
haven't necessarily even come that close.
Goes to Yonkers. Yonkers gets Desmarais. Tightly covered, he goes back to Blastman.
You can tell that this point feels a little bit of a grind for Mooncatchers, doesn't it? It's not coming as easy as it has done at certain points.
Desmarais goes up line and finds Bontemps.
This could go.
I felt the same, but he does put it in the holster, then gets a wide open Carclinch. Carclinch leads to Yonkers. Doorstep into the end zone. Desmarais is there, and Moon put one on the board, stretch it back to within 2.
That's a point about desire and determination, because Mooncatchers essentially just ground it down the open side. Yeah, there were a couple of resets to give themselves some lateral space, but generally it was shoving it down Chevron's throat. And sometimes that's what you got to do, Steph. I know it's not the Mooncatchers flair and pomp that we often like to see, but it was equally as effective. The score in the end was probably the most comfortable part, because once the throw goes up early and Desmarais got those couple of steps in space, I think Rodri Williams knows that the game is up. I mean, the point is up, but
the
metaphorical game is up, right? You know what I mean.
I know what you mean. We're just got to make sure everybody back at home knows what we mean. And I think we're doing a pretty good job. There you see the Jinx and BFD there. Whole bunch of ex-Eurostars, Levka, Paulina, and Lasma, all enjoying life together. One-time teammates, now adversaries, and newly formed teammates.
It's one of the great things about tournaments like this, where it's quite intense. It's a real melting pot, and you know, you've got those rivalries, but you've got those friendships across teams as well, and you leave it all out there on the field, and once it's done, you can sit back and have a whatever beverage you like and
enjoy the day.
Exactly, and enjoy. This is the other thing as well, because when you're not playing, you can look around and you've got high-quality Ultimate going on all around you, because it's 8 of the best in each division here in Leuven. You love to see it.
So Sweetenham a bit ready to have it checked back in. Ochinsky on that mark. Sweetenham spots Graham, but the defense took it away.
Stall out.
Ochinsky taps the head, and Moon will have a short field to extend this game to 3.
How often do you see the uncontested stall out? But Sweetenham had nowhere to go. He had no choice.
The messmaker hits Bakeman's backward somersault on the pop-up. Make it 13-10, Benji.
I will point out that Chevron were 3 points down against Mooncatchers the first time these teams met, but at that point it was 3-0 and then 8-5. That's an entirely different proposition when it's 13-10, and Moon are in the spot now where they're further behind. They're further behind than Mooncatchers need to win.
Bakeman's the goal scorer. Here's another look from above.
Yeah, de Messmaker. Those two linked up for an earlier break when it was Bakeman's to de Messmaker. This time it's de Messmaker to Bakeman's. Whichever way they like it, it's still going to work. And Moon can almost taste that final place. 13-10, and we've been playing less than an hour. It's been fast, really up-tempo Ultimate, but it's not been frantic or frenetic or rushed. It just feels sharp, I think. It's really pointed. It's great. I love it. Still no point this game where either side's turned it over more than once. We've had a couple where they've both turned it over, but that's about it. It's been remarkably clean. When D-lines have got it, generally they've used it.
Yeah, a great game, great efficiency from both the O-lines and the D-lines. Mooncatchers asserting their dominance inch by inch where possible. Chevron not giving them too many opportunities, but the ones they have, Mooncatchers have found ways to exploit and turn them into converted break opportunities.
Great pull. There's plenty of hang time before Keim catches.
Keim from his own end. Goes to Graham, who boosts it Ochinsky behind Sweetnam. Sweetnam maintains position. Then Elliot Edwards and the Chevron put another one on the board quickly.
I think that certainly took a little of air out of the home crowd here. Obviously, Jet Set, the local team, but Brussels is literally 15-20 minutes away on the train, so obviously there will also be a lot of Moon support here, and nothing better than a big play the other way to just sort of nullify that home advantage. Sweetnam had position early, never surrendered it, went up big and went up early as well. Kept Jashinsky on the backside, and Elliot Edwards the finisher once more. Chevron keeping it close, but they need to get breaks, and they need to get them now.
Yeah, with 13 on the board for the Mooncatchers, the efficiency they've shown, the clock almost a non-factor now, just being able to stop the Mooncatcher offense. Allowing any more is going to take to the critical point of no return.
Yeah, we don't know who awaits the winner in the final. That game is going on behind us. The one-camera Ulti-TV coverage with Lorcan and Murray dialing in remotely. That is another British-Belgian affair with Clapham up against Gentle.
Yonkers will take the pull from its out-of-bounds spot and bring it to the brick mark.
Score update in that one, by the way, for you. Clapham currently leading 11-9, but Gentle have got a break chance.
Keep us with the finger on the pulse there, would you, Benji, as this one continues in front of us. Ben Yonkers goes to Blastman. Mueller, the unsung hero of this Moon O-line, does all the dirty work, catches a lot of goals, and is just a conservative contributor. Yonkers goes wide towards center to get DeLuca, and then quickly zips it to Demarais.
Yeah, you need those glue guys like Mueller who will just put in the hard yards on the hard work and are happy to let others take the plaudits, but it doesn't quite work without them.
Demarais to Yonkers. Meters away here. Go wide. Bontemps all alone. And make it 14. Looks like this one could be over. Not quite yet, Benji, but Moon pouring it on.
Decent little kick spike there as well from Bontemps. Not bad. Got a little cut across it, the slice to generate that spin. Someone's been practicing. Moon doing a very good job at stretching Chevron, not vertically, but horizontally, really utilizing the field width till its full dimensions, keeping the force down the open side. They've done it before, and when you overcommit to stop that, the traffic all flows towards that front cone. It leaves someone free on the backside, and that means that Yonkers, we know what a great thrower he is. That to him is not a problem at all. He can just sit that out into space, and Bontemps will more than happily collect. Without really thinking about it, Sofiane Bontemps has an assist and 4 goals. When did that happen?
Unbelievable.
He's good, isn't he? I like him.
Yeah, he gets the job done. And how, like, did he quietly get 4 goals? Like, I've noticed him succeeding, but 4 goals is something that jumps off a stat sheet, and it takes us for this time for Benji to point it out, duly so, that he's mounted them up that impressively. That's
going to happen with rosters with this much strength and depth, that all of a sudden you won't realize, but there's so many key contributors. You take your eye off one of them, and someone else will step up in their stead. I'm reminded of the Mooncatchers versus La Fotta semi-final at EUCS last year, which game of the season, by the way, absolute monster. But all the big players from either side just took their turns and having their stamp on it. Like, all of a sudden, this is my time to shine, and it's so fun when you see that, those two powerhouses, whoever they may be, going head-to-head, and those big players. It will happen, not necessarily in quite the same way, but generally all the big players will have some sort of effect, and it's almost like they take it in turns at points. Right, you've done your job, now it's my time to grab the highlights, as a Travel's going to send this back to Spears with Feller on the mark. And you might be thinking, I thought Feller was a long-term injury absentee. Well, Arthur Feller is, but Cedric is stepping up amiably in his stead, and he's only like 15.
rising to the occasion. Cedric Feller, the under, comes from Criddle. Betrancourt riding with his hands on the shoulders by the time the disc arrives. Hammer has come, spears under. Vandenbroek breaks it up.
I think what's been notable in the last few points and last few possessions for Chevron is that they haven't been able to move the disc as readily. They've had to look to second, third, fourth options. They've had to put up some slightly sketchy shots because they don't want to get stalled out as they were a couple of points ago on that far side. Moon now have the disc to win.
Game on the line, in the balance, Oczynski, up line, Vandenbroek. Squeaks one inside to Betrancourt. He finds Abeltinch. Abeltinch leads. Vandenbroek comes back once again. Leading throw to Feller. Feller, quick deliver to Bakemans. Bakemans, not yet. Still not yet. Does not give that forehand. Goes all the way around to Vandenbroek. Gaetan Vandenbroek assessing. Now hangs one up. All alone. Betrancourt and Moon get the job done. 15-11 in the end, Benji. In the final quarters, they put their foot down and make sure that they'll have a chance to defend their Elite Invite title.
When was the last time Moon didn't make a final? Genuine question.
Jeez, we got to go back a very, very long time, I think.
That consistency is why they're one of the most feared teams in Europe, in the world right now, because even when they're not at their best, they still find ways to consistently contend late into games, late into tournaments. This is just one more example. Vandenbroek, a lot of whip and bend on the forehand, but Betrancourt's wide, wide open. All you have to do is get it there, and the score is good. You see it now on the drone. Betrancourt, he's got the freedom of the lowlands to take his time and steady underneath that one. Chevron gave it their all. I think they just ran out of the juice a little bit in the end. That'll come for what is still a growing Chevron side, but they have showed a lot this game and a lot this tournament. And if they can just sharpen some things up, get that little bit of extra strength, because they weren't quite at full numbers this weekend either, just like at Tom's last week, that I think Chevron can be a real player and a real contender on the European scene this season. I've been a little bit snide potentially about Chevy in years past. No, I'm a believer. They, over the past year or so, finally winning the UK Nationals, getting lots of that young talent through, and not just having it be a part of the team, but be a big part of the team, I think is huge for them. I think they've done a great job in forming themselves a new identity. And we can have a look at the game stats, Steph.
Yeah, as we have a look, the break chances 5-4, clean holds 8-9, one apart everywhere. It is the breaks themselves. 5 for 5 for the Mooncatchers, 100% conversion rate. And especially if you're going to get more chances and you're going to be perfect, that is going to be the tail of the tape.
Yeah, that's ludicrous, to be honest. Both sides turned it over roughly a similar amount of time on offense, but when Mooncatchers D-lines got the disc, they don't play offense like a D-line. Yes, they might take some shots, but they seem so calm and assured. And I think having some of those more traditional offensive players, your Bakemans, your Oczynskis on that D-line is huge for them. It just gives them just that little bit more sense of settled security, I think. Mooncatchers were brilliant. They continue to be brilliant. There's no surprise by it at this point. And are they favourites to defend their Elite Invite title? Well, they'll be pushed by Clapham if it's Clapham, and I say Clapham because at the moment they are up in that game behind us.
But just by one now, 12-11, Benji. Gentle making it very interesting to have the potential for an all-Belgian clash, but it is Clapham a step ahead. That much you'll have to tune in with Lorcan to find out the end.
Yeah, I know that Mooncatchers would back themselves against their compatriots, and they'd back themselves against the Bullfrogs as well, even though the EUCS final didn't go their way.
Well, thank you very much for tuning in for this wonderful semifinal match. We hope you've been with us all day. We hope very much you'll be with us all day tomorrow for the big pointy end of this. Of course, the mixed semifinal will be first up in the time slots, and then we go back to back to back, women's, then open, then mixed for all of the grand finals here from Elite Invite. The wild card tickets tomorrow will be distributed. The action has stayed hot and has delivered to the expectations of what we've all expected for these top 8 teams in 3 divisions. It's been a wonderful day again here from Leuven. The weather stayed wonderful. We're expecting more of that tomorrow. Thanks to our great crew for doing a wonderful job as always, and for the wonderful well of knowledge next to me, Benjamin Reese. I've been Stefan Rapazzo. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.